name is Heather, and I was born with eczema. I get eczema pretty much all over, a lot on my eyelids, on my throat, around my mouth, crook of my arm, that sort of thing. It can be really overwhelming. Having to concern myself with it for prom or my wedding, it's just always something in the back of my mind. One of the things I hate most about my eczema is the itchiness, and I can count on Dermacalm to relieve that for me. I first tried Dermacalm and then loved it so much that I wrote a comment on their Facebook page, which is how they got in touch with me. So when I opened up Dermacalm, I had a feeling it was gonna be good. So even on a really bad flare-up, I found it relieved the itch, it relieved any sort of discomfort I had around it, and the scaliness went away. When I am flaring up, I use the product as much as possible. And then throughout the day, I carry it with me, so if I just need a little bit of relief, I can just throw it on. What I love about Dermacalm is the texture's really great, it's non-greasy, it's corticosteroid-free, it's fragrance-free, and it just feels great when I put it on. I love how accessible it is to me and that I can just go into my local pharmacy and pick it up. I think everybody should try it.